my childhood was pretty good until 1970 when things started to rock and roll, and when my parents divorced, and things were going real well. We had to go to my grandmother's for 9 months, and my grades were starting to go down, and there was a lot of alcohol in my family, especially on my mom's side. My grandparents drank a lot. They died of alcoholism. I had 2 uncles that passed away from alcoholism, and I turned 18 September the 18th of 1982, and that's when my drinking started to kick in. And I was drinking successfully. My work I wasn't doing very good at work. I finally, in 1985, when my mom moved down here in Georgia, I figured that I'd get away from all my friends up there that was drinking a lot. And then when I came down here, it was just as bad. My jobs weren't going well. I mean, they'd go well for about 2 or 3 months, and then I started drinking too much, and then I was more or less out in the street, down in Stone Mountain, and going from home to home, and it was not what I wanted to do, so I started working for my stepdad, which I don't particularly care for, but you know, that's beside the point. I went to work for him, and I worked for him for quite some time, and then I quit him and went to work for Rich's Warehouse, and was doing real well there, and then my drinking started to hit up again, and then, you know, I just felt like, you know, I kept running from all my problems as far as drinking goes, and finally my mom got an inheritance in 1998, something like that, and she wanted to know if I wanted to move into a trailer, which they were looking for, and they finally found one in Flowery Branch, and it was paid for. We had to do a lot of work to it, but the thing of it is, though, she got the trailer for me, we got it fixed up, and she was basically paying the bills, and it went on for 13 years, and her doing that, which it wasn't bad. If it was $400 a month, she wouldn't be able to do it if it was $200 a month. But I was drinking a lot then, and I kept it going, and never had a job. And then finally, my brother come down and wanted to know if my mom wanted to move back to New York because she was getting old. And so in 2015, 14, something like that, when I had to go and get a place at the Salvation Army in Gainesville. Well, they left to go to New York, and I had about $175 in my pocket, and it was going to be an hour before the Salvation Army was going to be able to get me in there. And so I went down to the corner store, and there was a couple guys sitting there, and we started drinking there. And the guy didn't mind was owning the place as long as we kept our trash up. But I was drinking so much that I finally collapsed, and I even got up and even talked to the police officer. I said, I need to go to the hospital, and so they got me in the hospital in Gainesville, and went to North Georgia Medical Center, and they told me that I had low sodium, my ankles were swelled up, and I had to stay there for like 4 days. And then they finally the nurses wanted to know what I was going to do after I got out of here. I said I didn't know where I was going to go. So I had a choice. It was either go to Atlanta or Athens. And I picked Athens because I knew if I got down in Atlanta that it'd be even worse. So I figured I'd pick Athens because my mom at one time said she wanted me to come here when I was in my 30s, you know, to see how I'd like it here. And I never took that chance to be able to come here. So then I said, well, I might as well take the chance to be able to come here and see how it was. Well, I was supposed to go to the Salvation Army there, and I finally got in there, and I went in there to do a urine sample and stuff like that, and I collapsed and had a seizure. And that's the first time I ever had a seizure. And I was in the hospital for like 2 days, and finally they got me in there. And I was in the Salvation Army for about 7.5 months. And that's how I met Sam. I met Sam there, and then Sam kind of disappeared on me, and so I was still there for the amount of time, and they finally told me I had to leave because I was over 90 days. So then I was right back out in the street again, and I went to a couple places. I went to the Powder House. I didn't like that too well because it was too strict for me. I couldn't even smoke a cigarette. And so I got out of there, and that's when I met up with Sam again. And then we hung together for quite a long time. And we got down there in the bridge, and that's where we were basically living at. And of course, at one point there, Sam had fallen into the darn Pony River, and I finally pulled him out. And I think, you know, and I think it was months after that, and Sam went into the program, which was called ITP. And I thought about it, and then I said, I was out in the woods, and I said, well, I'm getting sick and tired of being out in this woods. You know, I was just too fat, I was getting too bloated and everything. So I just, I had to work hard to get into ITP too. I mean, it wasn't easy. I had to go to detox, and was there for 7 days. And finally they got me into ITP, and it's a 6-week program, and I ended up staying there for 8 because I couldn't afford to get into ARC. So what I did was I got a voucher from Advantage, and then Dick, my sponsor, put 100 up, and then my mom put 100 up to get me in here at ARC. But then Christina come over to ITP, over to Advantage, and wanted to know, you know, gave me like an interview like, and she wanted to know if I was going to be able to handle it because she didn't want me overwhelmed. I said, well, I'll be able to do it, you know. But it's, as I got in here, finally got into ARC, and I think the big thing that they wanted you to do was get a job, and I sat around and did jobs here and there, and it wasn't enough to keep me up here, so they wanted to throw me out, and I finally, you know, I packed my bags and I stored them up in ricks until I could find a place to put them. And then Jonathan came and talked to me and called me back and said, you know, and then I called my sponsor Dick, and he said, go on back there. He said, well, you know, we'll try and do something. So it was a week later, I finally got a job down the Holiday Inn Express, and I've been there ever since. But my alcohol just took over me, you know, and it didn't make no, I mean, I did it to myself. And if I just listened to other people, then I probably wouldn't be sitting in this situation, but I'm doing pretty good right now, and I have a lot of respect for ARC for what they've done for me, and anything that I've asked them, they've done for me, and, you know, I've done all my classes like I was supposed to, but, you know, other than that, you know, I'm going to continue to keep doing what I'm doing. You know, once I leave here, you know, I'm still going to go to my meetings, and AA meetings, and do things that they need me around here. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah, Fred.